Okay, so I'm Liam Fahey. I'm one of the advisors for the Digital Solutions Program. This program has been brought to you by Business Station on behalf of the Commonwealth Government of Australia. Business Station is the not-for-profit based in Perth that delivers this program across Queensland, Northern Territory and Western Australia. I've been running my own company for 14 years. It's one of the largest marketing production companies in Queensland and one of the oldest as well for social media. In that time, I've worked for numerous different businesses across many different industries. And tonight I'm going to show you exactly how I do marketing for these businesses across Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and use a couple of case examples where I've taken businesses from closing down to being actually the largest stores in the Southern Hemisphere. I've done this with many businesses, and the principles that you're going to learn tonight are very simple. For those of you that are attending this live, it's always amazing if you can let me know a little bit about what type of industry you're in. So use the chat function at the bottom of your Zoom controls. Just tell me a little bit about your business, essentially what industry you're in. If you have a question at any point in time, you can use the chat function, or you can use the question and answer functions. Again, but in the bottom of the Zoom controls. For those of you that are watching this online later, you can reach out to me at Business Station, and my email address is available there. It's liam.f@businessstation.com.au, and that is with 3 S's, Business Station. So what I want to do is I want to dive in straight into Facebook. Now, principles of marketing is really what we're talking about here, and there's 2 types of customers. There are need-based customers and want-based customers. A need-based customer goes, I'm hungry, I'm looking for something to eat. They look for somewhere to eat. A want-based customer goes, oh, look at that chocolate cake. Oh, dripping, moist, yummy, I want that cake. And they go and purchase that cake. So 2 types of customers. If they need something, they tend to turn to Google. If they want something, they tend to find it on social. So want-based customers are finding things that they're not necessarily looking for. Need-based customers are directly looking for it. You can get need-based customers on social. There's definitely an element to it regarding branding. So let's jump in and just really basic how social media works. I'm going to show you my own share my own social media today. So it is completely live. I have no idea what's going to be on the screen. So content warning, I guess. So I've got a sponsored post. I've got ad straight up. I've got something from a community group. Aero Club. From behind you can see they like to fly planes. Something from a business that's been shared by a friend. Something from a community group. Another sponsored ad. So each time I see one of these sponsored ads, Facebook has made money. The content that's putting in between these sponsored ads is content that thinks that I'm interested in based on my engagement with the platform. Engagement is liking, tagging, sharing, commenting, and clicking. The more you do these things on social media, the more you tell Facebook, this is what I'm interested in. And Facebook is then going to show more of that content for you. So if you want to get customers seeing your content that you post to your Facebook page, and again, very similar with Instagram, then you want to make sure that they're engaging with it by liking, tagging, sharing, commenting, or clicking. If they're doing that, then they will see your content organically. So when I say organically, I mean non-paid. You can definitely spend money on Facebook ads to get your content in front of people, as this business has done here with the sponsored post. But I specialize in organic marketing. Organic marketing is creating the right content, putting it in front of your customers and getting them to share it, getting them to promote it. That's my specialty. That's the space I've always sat in. And with that, you can reach hundreds of thousands of people on Facebook every year and get to the right customers. You just got to make sure that all the content that you're posting is good quality content. So I'm going to dive straight into a real world example here. This is Millennium Comics and Collectibles. The owner of this business, his name's Rob, has been nice enough to give me permission to use his page for the purpose of training. Now, when I first met Rob around about 3 or 4 years ago, he was closing down. His business was struggling. We took him from struggling to being the largest pop culture store in the Southern Hemisphere. Probably we're not sure of all of them around the world, but probably the third largest in the world. And there's a few factors that played into this growth, but the turnaround from closing down to growing his business came just because of what we were doing on social media and how we approached it. So I'm going to show you his social media. But we've got a question. So Jan has asked the question, so Liam, I'm liking and engaging. Do you mean if the customer's engaging, it's good? Yes, you want your customers to be liking, tagging, sharing, commenting, and clicking. If you're engaging with them, that's a community-driven process where you're replying to their comments, but you need them to comment on your page first. So we're talking about customers engaging with your page. So I'm going to go for a quick scroll through this page. So the big thing that we did, the very big first step, was we went from showcasing products to having people in the post. The first thing you have to realize about social media, and it doesn't matter what platform it is it's social. That means people. The more you can have content on your pages that looks like it came from a friend or family, the more your customers are going to stop and look, and the more they're going to engage with it. There's probably been well over 100 businesses I've walked into and done their social media for just the last couple of years, where I've just taken them from showcasing their products to having people in it, and the business has just turned around. So every post, you should have a person in it as much as you can. You want people in your content. Naturally, theirs is quite fun. If you're in the service-based industry, you might be thinking, how am I going to show that? I'm going to get to that. So when we put up a post, and we've got different sort of styles of posts here, some perform better, some perform worse. This one in particular performed really well because it's a screen use costume from Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. So when we get a post that performs like this, we're looking for shares first. If they're sharing it, then they're sharing it to their page, which means that any people that engage with the person who shares the content are going to see that as well. So it expands your audience quickly. Comments are really good. Great idea to respond to comments when you can. And likes. First little trick is if people are liking your content, you can invite them to like your page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into this page to manage it. One sec. Just got to find the right profile. And I do see that we have another question, so I will be coming to you shortly. Got about way too many pages here. I've got to try and find the right one. Here we go. Okay, resuming share. So we put up a post, we find that one that's performed well. Switched into it. Sorry, I'm just having a little problem today with Facebook. Okay, so we switched into the profile. And what you want to do is you want to come down to the likes. So grab your likes. When you click on it, you'll have the option to invite people to like your page. It will come up as a button. These people here have already been invited. So you can have people on your page that like your page, that like your content, but don't like your page. Looks like my team might have already come through and done all the inviting for this page for today. It does look that way because I'm not finding any examples for you. But you'll see there will be an option to actually invite people. That's a really good way to build up your audience and get more people seeing the content that you're posting out there. Now, in terms of the content that there we go, option there to invite. So now that person will receive a notification inviting them to like the page. More often than not, they do like the page. So in terms of content to be posted, there's a sort of a 3-step strategy I like to use, sometimes 4. The first one is I like to put up a branded post. You might have started the business a while ago, you introduced yourself then and there, but you've definitely got a new audience since then. So the first thing I always recommend to businesses is you let them know who you are for a branding post. Branding posts go just beyond your logo and who you are, though. It's really who are you and why should I care? So branding is about you, it's about your values, it's about the values of the business, it's why you started the business, it's everything that makes it up. And when we do a branding post, we're really asking our customers to form an opinion about our business. So example for you, two of the biggest brands in the world, Samsung and Apple. I'm a Samsung user always, and I'll never switch. For the simple reason is I am incredibly clumsy, and I drop my phone almost every single day. In fact, this phone fell off the bench onto the tiles on the weekend, and the screen is perfectly fine. The screen's fine because it's a Samsung. Every Apple phone I've ever seen, it always has a cracked screen. So I think Samsung, and I trust it as a business owner, it's my connection to the world. And I think Apple, and I think broken screen is just terrible product. I don't know why anyone own one. I'm sure there's a lot of Apple fans that are watching this that are probably unhappy now, but I always see broken screens. My Samsung doesn't even have a proper protector on it, and it's fine. So that's how I feel about the brand. That's how I connect with it. And even outside of phones, if I'm buying a new TV, I tend to lean towards Samsung first because it has my trust. So when we do a brand awareness page, we're asking our customers to form an opinion and hopefully develop that element of trust. The next step after brand awareness is capability. Often owners and managers of social media make the mistake of thinking a capability post is about sales, but it's not. When we're doing a capability post, all we're trying to do is let our customers know what we do. So it's purely informative, letting them know that this is what we offer, this is our product range, this is what's good about this product, this is what service that we offer, this is how we do the service, this is what is beneficial to our customer. So if you do a good branding post followed by capability post, that will attract a lot of attention. And ideally, with your first branding post, when you're introducing yourself as the owner of the business, when you do the capability post, you're either going to be doing the service or you're going to be holding the product. Because then customers will relate to those two images if they've seen both of them. The next step after capability is action. This is where we make the money. This is where we ask our customers to do something. We have availability this afternoon. It's the go to our new website. This is how you book. It's the buy two, get one free deals. It's those sort of things. It's where we get our customer to take action. The final step, and I don't always do this, but it's good if you can, is the testimony. If you can get a picture of yourself with your customer who are happy as happy, there's a potential there your customer's going to see it on your social, maybe reshare it to their own socials and go, hey, this is a great business. And then potentially their friends will see that and go, who's this business? Which starts the loop again back to the brand awareness post. So you create another brand awareness post with something different. Obviously, don't introduce yourself again, and then move through the steps. So that's my 4-step process to brand awareness: capability, action, and testimony. If you do that, it creates a closed loop on itself, which generates interest, generates leads, and really builds up your social. The most important thing is every step of the way, have people in your shots. The other thing is don't make your social too pretty. You want it to make it look real, like it came from friends and family. So I like to say, keep your picture for your picture field and your text for your text field. So your picture here, your text up here. Let your text tell the story. Let your picture show the story. Now, between this point in time, I normally get 1 of 2 questions. Question 1, how often should I be posting? Question 2, should I be posting video? So, answering the first question. First question being, how often should I post? If you can aim to post 3 times a week, that's normally a very good target for most business owners. I tend to find if you're posting more than 3 times a week, you tend to be posting lower grade quality content because you can't come up with enough ideas. And if you're posting less than that, you're not being seen. It definitely varies by industry, but around about 3 times a week tends to be the magic number. In terms of times of the day to post, I'm actually going to show you a trick with that shortly when we get into Meta. So we'll come back to that one. In terms of whether you should be posting photos or video, if you have a video, it takes longer to sell your message. So if you've got a video with a really good starting hook, people will watch it through as long as they're interested. And generally you want to have some sort of change in the action every 2 to 3 seconds. And I like to think in the first sort of 3 to 5 seconds, you want to sell what your main message is. With a picture, you can sell your message immediately. With a picture, it's easier to create, it's easier to produce. With a video, there's a lot more involved with your production. So for most of your feed content, which is when I'm talking about feed content, I'm talking about this section here. This is your feed. And then at the top, you have your stories. It's a good idea to be doing stories if you're not already. It's a really good insight into businesses. And you'll find that because it takes up such a large section at the top of social media, a lot of customers are just clicking through stories now, as opposed to scrolling down through feeds. So if you're not doing stories already, I would be starting to do it. It's also a good way to train yourself up on creating content, video content. Just keep in mind that it does take longer to sell your message with video. So as far as the time of the day to post, we're going to go into Meta Business Suite. Meta Business Suite is amazing because there's so much information available to you here. We're going to start with posts and stories, which also has one of my favorite functions, which is scheduled tools. Waiting for it to load. So we have the published, these are all our past posts. We have our scheduled posts, these are our upcoming ones. And then we have our drafts, which is currently blank. Over here in the top right, you have your create stories, create reels, create posts. For stories and reels, I would be doing it from your mobile phone, not from the desktop, but for your posts from desktop is good. So I'm going to click create a post. From here, if you have your Instagram connected in groups, you can post to all of them in one go. So we can turn that on. We put in our amazing copy. We add a photo or video. And we can customize it for Facebook and Instagram. It's a good idea to use your hashtags on Instagram. And I tend to find about 8 is a good number of hashtags. I like to use a localizing one, so hashtag Rockhampton, hashtag Queensland, Central Queensland, those sort of things. I like to use hashtags related to whatever it is in the picture, and I like to use a branded hashtag, so I use hashtag Millennium Collectibles and Comics. Don't use hashtags on Facebook. Feedback from BuzzSumo 1 billion report of social media showed that posts with hashtags on Facebook got lower engagement. So I'd recommend not hashtagging on Facebook. So once we have a post put together, and you can see what it's going to look like here on mobile and on desktop, then the next step is to either publish it now, save it as a draft, or schedule it. If we click on the schedule and we go to active times, it's going to tell us what time of the day our audience is online. So this is just good for getting an idea on when the best time to post could be. For a lot of businesses in a lot of region, with most audiences, it's probably going to be around that 6 o'clock mark. Me personally, I never like to post directly on the hour, so I might go just slightly above it, or below it. I just find that it tends to work a little bit better. That's the best time to post, but it might not be the best time to post for all your customers. A lot of business owners only post during business hours, but I've actually had success with posting at really random weird times, like 2 a.m. in the morning. At 2 a.m. in the morning, who's awake? Mums that are breastfeeding, night shift workers, emergency service workers, people out gaming, playing games, people in other time zones. There's potentially a market there which don't have any content fed to them. So I recommend occasionally post something up at 2 a.m. in the morning. You might be surprised what sort of result you get. Again, very dependent on what industry you're in. So that's how we do that. Continuing here in Business Suite, I'm going to go into Insights. Inside of Insights, this is all the data for our business. So let's see how this one's doing. We might go last 90 days. So last 90 days, we've reached 55,000 people on Facebook, nearly 1,000 on Instagram. We've had 24,000 people go through to our Facebook page. So the difference between reach and page visits. With page reach, these are the people that have seen some sort of content in their feed. With page visits, they've typed in our brand name, they've clicked on our brand name, they've gone to our page to have a look at what we have. So page and profile visits tend to be more important for me than page and page reach. So I want to know that people are interested in it and coming to our page. It looks like the previous 9 days we must have a good one because it's down a fair bit from there. Let's just go last 28 days. Page visits up, so that's exciting. Take note that for this period, last 28 days, we have not done any paid advertising for this page, which means that 7,756 people have gone to our Facebook page to look at some of our content, and we've reached 13,000 people without spending $1 on Facebook, purely just from the type of content that we are posting. Next section down here, which I find quite important, is your audience. It's a good idea to see who your audience is and where they're from. So we've been working very hard to grow the female side of this market and get more females following our page. So it's nice to see that number starting to come up. You can see what country they're from. It's normal for us to have a very large United States audience for this page because of all the comic book conventions that happen in America, and this business does a lot of sales into America. Have a look at your audience. I've jumped on a few different pages over the years, and I've seen audiences where they're based here in Australia and they have 6,000 fans that are all from Bangladesh or India. These are case examples where likes have been brought for that business. So it's a good idea to see who your audience is. Buying likes does not benefit your business in any way at all. So I definitely recommend never doing that. Okay, so any questions regarding that section? That sort of covers the organic side of social media, a little bit of what to be posting. Posting who you are, what your values are, why you started the business. We're not doing an introduction post to someone for social media. I like to do 4 lines. First line, introducing them as who they are and what their role is. The next line I like to do about their experience in the industry. The next line, what they like about their job. And the final line is just something that's personal. So the hobbies, interests. On the weekend, I like to smoke meat and fly planes, not at the same time. So that is how I like to approach it. So for someone starting out in business, really great question there, Jan. She says, when you don't have many contacts, can this still work? Yeah, it can still work. It does take a little bit longer though. So I'll just go back to Facebook. On your page, you can invite people to like your page that are friends with you personally. So that's one way to build your audience. The other way is to dabble into paid marketing. There's a few different ways to do it. So you find a post that you like, and let's say we're going to go with this one, and there's sort of 3 different ways to run ads on Facebook. You can do boosting, you can do ad center, and you can do ads manager. Boosting is the Camry. Ads manager is the Ferrari. What I mean by that is if you can't drive a Ferrari, you've never driven one, they're complicated to drive, you're not going to have any fun. A Camry, anyone can drive a Camry. They're simple, they're basic, and they will get you there. So boosting is not the most efficient and fastest and best way to do it, but it's nice and simple and it can get the job done. So we're going to click on Boost Posts, and we're going to show you how to get your content in front of more people for less dollars. So straight away, I like to turn the advantage off. You can select a goal if you want. And you have the options to add buttons, things like call now, send a message, book now, learn more. You can link them through to your website and those sort of things. Send a message straight up, just book now, call now, those sort of things. So if there's a goal that you want to achieve out of it, use the right button. If you're in these space, you have to click this button, but then we come down here, start to unlock the real power behind Facebook. So we got the Advantage audience, which is a suggested audience from Facebook. I recommend you not use that. And then we have people you choose for targeting, people who like your page, people who like your page and people similar to them, and people in your local area. So people in your local area, straight up, you can just target people in your region, right down to 1 mile. It's in miles because it's an American platform and Americans have not yet learned how to count in lots of 100. You can also choose people who like your page. This is really good if you're trying to retarget past likers on your page who might not be engaging. You can target people who like your page and people who are similar to them. Generally, if someone's interested in something, they have friends that are also interested in that product. This one tends to work reasonably well for retail type businesses. Or finally, you can choose people through targeting. And so we're going to click on that one. We're going to click on this little pen icon. First of all, we've got the option for male or female, and then we've got the age range, 18 through to 65. So we can manipulate this and change it to whatever we want. And as we change this, my estimated audience size down the bottom here is also going to change. So I'm just going to sort of leave this a little default. Here we have location. So by default, it's chosen Rockhampton. And if you choose a location, it limits you to 10 miles. What you can do though, is you can scroll in, you can take your pin, drop a pin down, and then you can reduce it to 1 mile. So you can pick out individual suburbs as opposed to picking out entire regions. As you can see, each time I do this, my audience size changes. You can also do things like I just want to pick out all of Queensland. You can do that. There we go. For this one, I'm just going to choose my hometown of Rockhampton. Leave it like that. And then we have detailed targeting. Inside of this section, we have demographics, interests, and behaviours. So demographics are things like education levels, financial doesn't work in Australia, life events, we've got a birthday coming up, anniversary, newly engaged, newlywed, recently moved to the region, new relationship, parents, whether they have kids, what age their kids are, those sort of things, relationship status, whether they're married, engaged, open relationship, single, separated. I've had a lot of success with the complicated relationship status for florists because you know he's in trouble. Obviously targeting men with that one. Work as well, you can pick out people in different industries, whether they're business decision makers, whether they're in farming, fishery, forestry, IT, management, protective services, whether small business, large business, etc. There's a few different options there for targeting out your audience. You can also pick employers and job titles for big businesses and common job titles like auto mechanic. The next section over is interests. Inside of interests is essentially everything and anything you could ever begin to imagine. So like fitness and wellness, into bodybuilding, weight training, yoga, food and drinks, whether they like beer, wine, distilled spirits, foods, fast foods, vegans, those sort of things. What sort of sports they like, what sort of things they watch on TV, all those sort of things. There's a huge option for targeting customers here. It's also really great for doing research into the region and finding out how many vegans there are. So a few different options there. The last step is behaviors. Behaviors are things like if they have a new active business, if they're Facebook page admin, if they're Instagram page admin, if they're a small business owner, what type of mobile device they use. So we might be just targeting anyone who is using a iPhone 7. Apparently less than 1,000 people. I'm guessing that must be an older version of an iPhone. Let's pick a couple other demographics here. Let's choose people who work in the business banking. Let's also choose people who like animated movies. So we're trying to target people who have an iPhone or work in business and finance or like animated movies. They're only going to meet one of these criteria for the post that you select to boost to come up in front of your customer. And as you can see, my audience size is quite large. If I get rid of one of these, my audience size is going to shrink based on what sort of interest the group of people I'm targeting have shown on Facebook towards those subject matters. So I'm going to save that audience. This is who I'm trying to target. The next step is my budget. So I believe the minimum budget is $1.48 now, $1.46. So if I spend $1.46 for one day, I'm going to reach 231 to 667 people in my region with my advert. For the question, yes, there will be a recording that you can watch, which will be sent to you in a link afterwards in case I've gone too fast or you've missed something, or you want to go back. So you don't have to worry about that. So $1.46, I'm going to reach at least 230 people with my posts. That is probably the cheapest advertising you can ever do, especially if you can get in front of the exactly right type of customer you want to reach. If I increase this budget, I'm going to reach more people, but there's a scale where eventually spending more money doesn't lead to more results. One of the great ideas is brand awareness campaign, letting people know you're there. Let's run a campaign for 364 days. To run a campaign for 364 days, it's going to cost me $531. $531.44. So every single day for a year, I'm going to reach 231 people to 600 people with my post. That is absolutely fantastic if you're trying to maintain brand awareness and keep yourself in front of customers. That's especially important if you're a need-based business. What I mean by that is that you're most likely in the service industry. Customers don't need you until they need you. So when they go into Google and they search for plumber and they see 20 different options come up, if they recognize your brand, see your brand in the list of 20 plumbers they can choose from, they're more likely to click on it. We call this the 3 pickup. Customers have to see your brand at least 3 times for them to go, hey, I know that, and pick up your product. You can have 2 almost identical products sitting in a shop, and one of them will sell and one of them won't, just based on purely the brand awareness. So if you're not doing brand awareness posts for your business, that's generally where I would start. You need to let your customers know who you are and what your values are. Run these campaigns for a long period of time. $500 to spend on advertising for a year is incredibly cheap advertising. If you were to run a brand awareness campaign on TV or radio for an entire year, you're probably going to have to fork out between 10 and 20 grand minimum. So that gives you an idea. So that's how you do boosting. That's how you do targeting. The first step for any ads that you create is know who your customer is. Okay, so that concludes our segment on Facebook. Now I'm going to dabble into TikTok. Before I do that though, does anyone have any questions regarding what I've spoken about? Now is a great time to use the question and answer functions or the chat tools to ask them. If you breaking down the 3 different social media platforms, the sort of 3 biggest for businesses, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook works by posting to your feed, and businesses and people that engage with you will see your content if they engage with you heavily. If they don't engage by liking, tagging, sharing, commenting, or clicking, they won't see the content that you put up. With Instagram, it's exactly the same, but you add hashtags as well. If people engage with those hashtags heavily, they might see your posts. TikTok, however, is a completely different beast. With TikTok, when you post content on there, it goes out to a small audience. If that small audience engages with it, sends it to a bigger audience. If they engage with it, it goes to a bigger. If they engage, bigger, 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 bigger. So it's entirely possible that you can put your first video up on TikTok and have over 1 million views on it by the end of this week. You can't get that on any other social media platform. It still has much the same things, likes, tags, shares, and comments, but it's a very, very exciting platform. With TikTok, it's the fastest growing social media platform in Australia. 1/3 of Australians over the age of 18 are now on the platform. And the demographic tends to be in that sort of 18 to 25 range. So a little bit of information about it. We have a question from Jan. She says, and no dumb questions here, Jan. Does one need a landing page minimum? But one needs a landing page minimum. Facebook, then some posts, and then do detailed audience. Okay, so you don't need a landing page to run Facebook ads because you can direct people to message you and to call you as opposed to going to your website. With something like Google, for the most part, you do need landing pages and those sort of things. You do need some Facebook posts, so you need something that you can actually promote, definitely. And you need an idea on who your customer is, who's likely to actually purchase your product. If you know who's likely, male, female, rough demographics, and what they're interested in, then you can target them and make a start. So that's how I like to approach that. What industry are you on in, Jan? That would probably help me a little bit to direct it towards you. Definitely let me know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into TikTok. And I'm going to show you some of the incredible things here. TikTok, like most platforms, works sort of in the same way that you have your following, the people that you like. You have a feed, all video sort of based. You still have your likes, your comments, and your shares, and you have your clicks and your comments. You can tag people. You can also tag people in your caption. You have hashtags as well. The sort of content that you get on TikTok is definitely a random mix. As you can see, I get a lot of plane type stuff, obviously because I like to fly planes and those sort of things. So it's showing me content it knows I'm interested in. It's going to show me this content because the more I scroll, the more ads I see, and the more money I'm going to, more money TikTok is going to make. You also have the following page, which shows you content from the pages that you follow, and you have the live page, so people that are currently live. I'm going to stop my share and then I'm going to jump back in and reshare it, just this time with audio. And I'm going to take you through to Pokey's. So Pokey's a mechanic down in Tasmania, and he uses TikTok marketing, and that's how his business works. He's responding to a question here in this video, and the question is, how many regular customers can you provide services for? Just asking because if you're 100K followers all wanted a service, you'd be really busy. I'm going to let him respond to that one.
All right, so I work on basically, I would estimate maybe, and I don't reckon it's even this high, would be 1% would be in my area are followers on TikTok. It may be a little bit higher, it might be lower. That's 1,450 people. If I get half of them as customers, I'm doing amazingly well, and this makes this worthwhile. A lot of my customers tell me they come from seeing us on TikTok, and yeah, it's working. Saying that, would I be able to service 100,000 followers? No shop in Australia can handle that. So no, I wouldn't be doing that. But most of the customers, most of the people following me aren't from this area locally, but a small percentage of them are. But that small percentage, even if it's only 1%, is more than I can handle. So yeah, that's how my marketing works. All right.
So TikTok's very far-reaching. You're just as likely to reach someone in your local area as you are to reach someone on the other side of the world. From my experience posting on TikTok, you'll tend to reach about 50% people in Australia. It's really great if you're selling online because you can access the international market really easy, but it's definitely not localized. But if you just get a small percentage of people that are in your local area, it can lead to you being very busy. At the start of last year, we started creating TikTok videos for one particular client. In the previous year, they had 140,000 people go through to their website. In the first 3 to 4 weeks of us posting social media content on TikTok, they had 100,000 views on their website, which naturally translated as well into sales. The sort of content that Pokey puts on here is really straightforward. It's very face to camera type stuff. There's nothing that's over the top. He doesn't do any dances or anything silly like that. It's just him talking about cars and explaining it. And this sort of thing works
All right,
well,
here's one.
just simply because a lot of customers never get to see the behind the scenes. For him, it's an everyday bit of work. But for customers who only ever get to see as far as the reception counter, this is a whole new world for them. So just because it's mundane to you because you do it every day, doesn't mean it's not interesting for your customers. So take them behind the scenes. Even if you're in startup and you're just beginning your business, take other people through the journey that you're on, because there'll be someone out there who will find it interesting. It's a fantastic way to build and grow your audience and also get feedback on what you're doing. His is just face to camera type stuff, all shot on mobile phone, turns the camera around to do all the different bits and pieces explaining. So it doesn't have to be over the top, but there's a bit of art to it where if you post more content, it does tend to go better. I'm going to show you just a couple more little videos, but if you have any questions around TikTok, definitely do let us know. I do have a full webinar just on TikTok. I am going to show you a couple more videos. So going over to America now, this was the very first video that Cheese Boss put up. This got over 1 million views. Let's find out why.
A year ago, I left everything behind to start the next big restaurant brand. We started off small with this plot of land and built everything we could by ourselves. We got this trailer to start and get proof of concept out to the people as fast as we could. We built everything and made it look really awesome and nice. But then we had to close. Shortly after, we managed to release out this restaurant space and we built it up by hand ourselves. Piece by piece, wall by wall, hour by hour, day by day, we built it up and we finally got open. And this is where our story begins. This is us.
So really just a good way to launch his business and show people what's really going on, takes them behind the scenes, their struggle and what they achieved. And it's interesting, shows a few different things, mixture of photos and video, but yeah, it's got 1.6 million views on it now, but when it first came out, it had 1 million views. So entirely possible for every business. There's an element here where the more real you are, the more people will respect it, the more that watches, more people that will watch it. Not every single video gets tens of thousands of views from, 10,000, 8,000, 52,000. It's sort of a bit of a mix, but again, if a lot of his customers come to him because of what they see on TikTok. So it is a fantastic way to get in front of a very large audience. I'm going to show you one last thing because TikTok is very much built on the idea of sound, music, dance, those sort of things. The course that I'm running next week on TikTok is called Don't Dance for Likes on TikTok, but music is definitely a big element of it. So we have this guy, Connor Price. He's a Canadian writer, and he's created these very engaging videos that are interesting, where he essentially plays himself 3 times in different characters. and he has a song over the top as well. So let's watch this video.
Yo, what is he doing? Oh yeah, so he was telling me that if you cut a carrot a certain way, you can play it like a flute. He really thinks that's gonna work? Apparently it's a thing. Just ignore him. Ready? Yeah, do me a favor, pull up that... Pull up that one session we...
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is.
So this has really propelled his music forward. And other people can use his songs if it's linked on to TikTok. So when you click on the song, you can see all the different videos for that clip. If anyone's listened or watched a video of a particular sound, then other people are more likely to see that sound in the next videos they see on their For You page. So the music choice is very important. Try and pick one that is going viral or popular at the time on TikTok. It'll definitely help push your video forward. You get to choose your music when you're going through the editing. For those of you that are starting to dabble into creating videos, the TikTok editing app is probably one of the best editing apps that I've seen. You can even put in voiceovers at the top. I'm actually going to jump into my own profile now. Show you a few of my videos. This one is a particular favorite of mine.
I'm an adult. I work a job. I get paid for that job, and then I use that money to buy childish things like this.
So there's a sound here that I used, just put it over the top of my video of my Lego D11. Scrolling through the different videos that I have, this was my first one, which I put up when I was actually learning about TikTok in Germany at DMEXCO, the world's largest digital marketing technology expo. That was a fair few years ago now. You know, videos of me playing around with my plane, travel, doing silly stuff. And then I did this video, which was a bit of a dig at McDonald's, and it got 250,000 views. I backed up with another video, sort of just showing my mate how easy it is to actually go viral on TikTok, where you can get 250,000 views just out of one video, as long as you put the right engagement through. So it is possible, easy enough to do. You just really got to think about what your subject is, what you're trying to get across. Getting your videos to be really interesting is part of the battle. Ideally, you want to be changing your visual every 2 seconds. You want it to be very fast-paced, very quick action, because every 2 to 3 seconds, you have the risk of your audience scrolling past. So if you're creating a video where there's a bit of an explanation for it, start with the action. Put the explanation in the caption to go with the video. Put a link through your website where they can learn more. You don't have to have everything in that video. That's not what it's about. The nice thing about social media, as opposed to a TV commercial, newspaper ad, or radio ad, is that you can sell things over time. You don't have to sell things all in one go. Essentially, that's how you should run your social media these days. Plan it as a long-term game. When I'm planning out content for social media, I'll normally create a 26-week plan for all the different content that I'm going to be posting. Then I'll go through and shoot all that content, all the photos, all the videos for it. Once I get all that content together, then I'll schedule and post it. Once I get about 20 weeks through my 26-week calendar plan, that's when I'll go, okay, I need to start planning out my next 26 weeks. And generally, you can just go back to the start of your 26-week plan and recreate all the content for it. You always want to be using fresh, new content on your social media, not pictures from 6 years ago. So this brings us towards the conclusion of our workshop today on social media for business, where we've covered using Facebook for business, creating paid advertisements that actually do work, what content to post, and learning how to post on things like, learning how to use other platforms like TikTok. For more information on TikTok, definitely join me next week at the same time, 5:30 on Wednesday, where I'm going to be doing TikTok, Don't Dance for Likes on TikTok. If you do want to get more information, then I strongly recommend that you go if you want to get more help, rather, I strongly recommend that you do go to our Business Station Digital Solutions website. Or just type in Digital Solutions Business Station to Google, get you here, and register for our program. For just $44, you can get 3 hours of personalised one-to-one business advice, where I can take you through things like your website, your social media, help you create a plan, make sure that your social media is working the way it should be. If you've got problems with it, I can help fix it up. So if you haven't already, sign up for the Digital Solutions program. It costs us just $44. Get 3 hours of personalised one-to-one advice with a business advisor, which could be me or one of the other advisors on our program. You do have an option there to put in a preferred advisor. All the different advisors in our program definitely have different levels of strength and expertise. We've all come from different industries and all worked in different fields. So if you have any questions, now is definitely your time to ask them. Otherwise, I've been Liam Fay for the Digital Solutions Program on behalf of Business Station. This has been Social Media for Business.